Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over back rank checkmates. We're now going over 1,000 to 1,200. Here we go. We'll see how many we can get done in 10 minutes, or maybe I'll try to get to 10. I like doing puzzles. All right, here we go. We're going to start off this one with black. Remember, whenever we are problem solving, we are trying to get our hierarchy in thinking, which is force moves, which is checks, captures, and threats. And this is a very standard chess pattern right here for the back rank checkmate. Here we go. Rook to d1 check. Bishop blocks, and then, well, what do you do with the pinned piece? You're just going to pile on it. So here we go, bishop h3, and there's no good way to stop rook takes on f1 for checkmate. All right, on to the next one. Here we go. Okay, here's a nice easy one here for us. And this one is definitely a little bit higher level one. You can see that there's two ways to try to get to the back rank, but, well, only one of them is going to be working here because, well, here with the rook trying to go there, doesn't the queen just take? It takes here. And the other one you have to ask yourself is, well, doesn't queen c1 check just work? It does work, but you have to play the proper move here. Notice that the rook and queen are both defending the d1 square. This is a really cool idea. Check it out. Here we go. We start with queen c1 check. The queen blocks, and here if you take, well, the rook just takes back. Here is where you bring in your second piece. Now you see the queen and the rook are both controlling a square together. Which one is it? f1. Here we go. Rook to f1 check. Queen takes, and then queen takes on f1 for mate. Always be looking for ways that they can try to block you or protect with another piece. All right, on to the next one. Here we have the same idea as the last one. We're trying to get that back rank checkmate, but, well, we see the queen's controlling on d8. This rook is being blocked off by this rook, and this rook is not even attacking the back rank. Well, very simple. What square is both the rook and the queen both eyeing? Hopefully you see it. It's the d8 square. Just remember, always lead with a check. So here we go. Queen to d8 check, rook takes, and now we just take, and it's going to be a fast mate. One, and then if the rook did come back, we're just going to take it as well. All right, here we go. On to the next one. Ooh, another one I like. This one is a very common theme, especially in higher levels, because, well, many people will not see the first part of the idea. Why is it so tough? Because it involves a queen sacrifice, giving up a piece of higher value for one of lower value. So, did you see it? Here we see that we have the rook, queen, and the bishop, and they're all eyeing one square, particularly this f8 square. But who's defending this rook here on g8? So what do? Simple chess. Remove the defender. So what do you play? Remember, it has to be a check. You'll get a lot of beginners that will play queen f8 here and say, well, if they take. Remember, do not do the what if, or don't do what's called hope chess. Here, do the force move. Queen takes on g8, king takes, and then, of course, rook to f8 for mate. All right, here we go. This one I like to call the Fisher's Mate. Whenever I was first learning chess, more than 15 years ago, I read Bobby Fischer's book. I believe it was like the one where you flip up. It's basically just a puzzle book, and I forget the name of it right now. But that was one of the first books I read. And in that book, one of the cool tactics I found was this one. Basically the power of the pin and this checkmate pattern. All right, it's white to move. Do you see it? Remember, if it ain't check, it ain't right. Here you get to play queen takes on f7 check. Notice that after rook takes here, a lot of beginners make the mistake, and they will take. What I learned from that book from Fisher, well, it was called Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess, is that now this pin is very strong, and it's an absolute pin. You absolutely cannot move it. So here, a lot of beginners make the mistake and take, and then, well, after king takes, you just lost your queen and your bishop over here. Here, the plan is to actually go rook to d8 check. The rook cannot go back, so the queen must block, and here we simply take for a beautiful mate. This is going to be a very, very powerful idea for you to use in your chess games. All right, on to the next one. Oop, this one's even easier. Here, you just got to pay attention. You know, when you're playing your chess games, when you see a back rank checkmating idea, a lot of people get a little too excited and they play the move really fast. Here, there's 3 different squares to try to go for back rank, but only one of them works. It's as simple as just looking at the squares beforehand. Just remember, whenever you're playing your game, again, you'll get a little excited, and just know when you're doing tactics, there's only one right answer, at least when you're on chess.com, which is where we're doing these puzzles. This is our custom puzzles, 1,000 to 1,200 for back rank checkmates. Did you find it? Here we don't go to d8, the queen was blocking. Here you don't go to c8, bishop was defending, which just leaves the last one here. Yep, queen to b8. And now we're just going to go and take the pieces. Takes and takes. All right, we're already on 6 with only 5 minutes in. Not too bad. Another standard back rank checkmating idea. Here we go. Here we see the rook and the queen working together. What's the weakest pawn next to the king? That's the f2 pawn. Here we go. Queen takes on f2 check. The king goes over to d1, And remember, always look for those checks. If you can bring in more pieces, this is always better because then you have more attackers there. So do you see the next piece? Hopefully you do. It's the bishop. I already hear someone saying, hey, we should be looking at queen takes on f1. Yes, I'm very happy that you looked at that. But unfortunately here it doesn't work because after queen takes, rook takes, here you miss the king has the escape square on e2. So now that you know that e2 is the square that is an escape square, well, problem solved for it. We have to take away the square. That's where you'll find the next move pretty simple. We bring in the bishop, we get rid of this square, and, well, we're just going to cover it. So bishop to g4 check. They block with the knight. Now that the e2 square is taken away, it's an easy checkmate. What do you play? Again, people will miss this one because they don't like to sacrifice their queen. I like winning more than I like the queen. Here we go. Queen takes f1, rook takes, and then rook takes on f1 for mate. On to the next one. Here we go. Another simple one here. Here again, we see that there's all these different ways for the queen to get to the back rank. But which one is it? Simple. Just check the squares. On d8, the rook blocks. On c8, the bishop protects, which again leaves queen to b8. A very unnatural move. I think a lot of people here would go in as close as possible to attack the king. But again, when you get excited in these positions, just make sure that you take a double check. Because if you get this answer right, you're going to win the game. Here we go. Check, check, checkmate. Here we go. Next one up. Another very cool pattern that I actually learned from working with the chess.com. Chess.com does a great job with these ones. Here, the rook gets played to e1. And I know a lot of people here are looking at taking the rook over here. That simply won't work. The rook will just take. So, again, let's go back to our ideas. Look for force moves. It's actually really important that this bishop is controlling this g1 square. It's going to lead to the checkmate. Anybody see any checks? Remember, the impossible-looking moves are the ones you should be looking for because the impossible-looking moves is the moves that your opponent won't look at. So, what was the move? Again, we get to do a queen sacrifice. Queen takes on g2 check. The rook must take. And this is why it was so important. The bishop is now guarding this g1 square. So now when we take on e1, the rook comes back and rook takes on g1 is mate. All right, let's go on to the next one. We're on number 10. We might do a few more today because, well, again, I just like solving problems. This one is... Ooh, this one's a little tough one. Let me take a think on this one. Let's see here. Check, check, check. So this one, I don't believe is a mate, but it's got the theme of the back rank. I think in this one, we're just winning some material. Let's see if I get it right. I could get it wrong. I am a human, and sometimes I make mistakes. But here, I'm pretty sure it's going to be queen takes on f8. The idea here is we want to play knight to e6 check, but the bishop's blocking. So the idea is just to win material here with queen takes on f8, rook takes on f8, forcing the bishop back, and now we see that check that we want to do can now get played. Like I said, we're not winning the game with the checkmate, but we are winning material and had the same idea, again, the weak back rank. Knight e6 check, and then we simply take. And here we're just in a winning position. After king takes, we have two rooks. They've only got one, and we're going to be up the exchange. These guys cancel out, and then these guys. Okay, on to the next one. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do probably a few more. I want to get to that 10-minute mark. Okay, here we go. Again, the same kind of idea. Not winning with checkmate, but just winning material. Here, and anytime you're trying to solve problems for tactics, you should definitely be looking for unprotected pieces. And again, always look at those moves that you would not consider. Remember, the impossible-looking moves are typically going to be the answer. So what's the idea here? Well, the rook's unprotected, so here we look for queen sacrifices. Here, someone's looking at queen takes on b7. I'm glad you looked at it. In fact, it was the first thing I looked at, but no, just queen just takes, and there's nothing going on there. Again, the idea was about this unprotected rook. Do you see it now? Here, we're actually going to play queen takes on f4, and after pawn takes, well, now we're going to be able to take the rook. And the important part here is that the queen has to move back to defend. So after rook takes, we just won the queen. We have an extra bishop here, and hopefully you know your endgames. This should be an easy win. So one's 1194. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, awesome. Here we got another back rank idea, and here we see a few pieces working together. The queen's definitely eyeing this d8 square. You see that this rook over here is trying to get to a7. Ooh, and another good factor is unprotected rook. Okay, what do you think? Well, in this position right here, I'm definitely looking at playing rook takes on a7 here. Now, we want to go to d8 here, but the queen is blocking. Another good idea that you might consider might be something like queen to d2. It looks like it's going to attack the unprotected rook and also attack on d8. Unfortunately, this simply doesn't work. Again, the queen is just guarding on d8, and also, well, the rook can just slide over. So the idea here is to try to at least win a pawn here because the queen can't move from this checkmating square. So let's take a look. Rook takes on a7. Here they're being nice to us. They take. There was no need for them to take, but that's okay. We get to do checkmate over here. By the way, for those of you who don't know, this is called the Mighty Queen mate. This is called the Mighty Queen because the Mighty Queen can only do this checkmate. For the back range checkmates, if you can imagine, if it was a rook, then the king would be able to escape to e7. So the queen to d8 Mighty Queen mate is done, and again, it covers this e8 square for the mate. Let's see here. Let's go and do one more and we'll call it a day. Lucky 13 over here. Okay, queen takes on c2. And what's the new idea? Simple chess. Here we're trying to get to the back range checkmate. And, well, looks like there's only one good defender here. What is it? It's the rook over here. If you can imagine this rook not being here, well, then we should be able to get the queen or the rook to the back rank. Do you see it? Remember, once you can identify what the weakness is, you simply attack it. In this case, it's the rook that's the main protector, as the rook and queen are not helping defend, and this bishop and knight, well, I guess you can say the knight's helping out a little bit. It is defending the rook here too. But here, once we get rid of the main defender, which is the rook, it's game over. Did you find it? Simple chess. Here we're going to sacrifice the queen. Queen takes on a8, knight takes, and now simple chess. We sacrifice her just so we can get the rook to the back rank, and that's 1 and 2. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to be making my next video. We're going to 1200 to 1400 next. We'll see you in the next video.